The NBA and the Premier League are two of the most popular sports competitions in the world. With over 7.9 billion combined viewers each year, they both boast an impressive base of support. However, the two leagues are set up completely differently. I mean, you have the obvious reasons, of course. They're completely different sports, played in two different countries. The main difference we're going to focus on today is the structure of the league. The Premier League has promotion and relegation, whilst the NBA has a draft system. This pretty much means that if you're one of the bottom 3 teams of the Premier League, not only are you sent down to the second division, but usually most of your squad jump ship, you get significantly less money from sponsorships and TV deals, and it's not uncommon for clubs to stay this way for decades, sometimes after just 1 year in the Premier League. Across the pond, things could not be more different. The NBA is a bit more forgiving. If you're one of the worst teams in the NBA, you pretty much get given the best young prospect in the country, and hopefully you don't suck as bad next year. Sometimes this is a resounding success, and teams are completely transformed in very little time, and sometimes you're the Charlotte Hornets. Because these two formats are so incredibly different, with the NBA draft being right around the corner, I thought to myself, what if the Premier League had a draft? Now, for this experiment, I've taken the reverse order of last season's Premier League table and newly promoted clubs, and lined it up with the current most valuable under-23 talents in the Premier League. Usually players that are drafted are anywhere between the ages of 20 to 22, except for that one time the Knicks drafted the 35-year-old for some reason. So if the Premier League had a draft system, it's likely that many of the league's top talents wouldn't have even signed a first-team contract yet. Because Sunderland were the final club to be promoted in the Premier League this season, I've gone ahead and given them the first pick, which, in this case, would be Arsenal winger Bukayo Saka. Realistically, Saka would have been draft eligible a while ago if the PL had the system, but I make the rules here, so he's off to Sunderland. Wins wrote that, Arteta. Cole Palmer will be off to Burnley, and Josko Gvardiol will be headed to Leeds. Spurs had a shocking season in the league this year, but as a result of it, they get Liverpool star Ryan Gravenberch. Wolves will get Lenny Yoro, Ethan Nwaneri will be headed to United, and Kobbie Manu will be taking his talents to West Ham. Levi Colwill will be headed to Everton, Eberechi Eze will get a lethal strike partner at Crystal Palace in Jeremy Doku, and Fulham will get a boost in the midfield with Amadou Onana. Jared Branthwaite will be the new man at Brentford, Morgan Rogers would end up at Bournemouth, and Europa League final hero Brennan Johnson would take his talents to the South Coast as he would end up at Brighton. Jurrien Timber would form a lethal wingback pairing with Nico Williams at Nottingham Forest, and Rasmus Højlund will be given a fresh start at Aston Villa. Destiny Udogie will be off to Newcastle, and Dean Hussein may be bound for Real Madrid in real life, but in this universe, he's headed to Chelsea. Matthias Tell will be bound for Man City, Rico Lewis would follow in Arteta's footsteps, swapping Man City for Arsenal, and Liverpool will get another defensive option for the title defense in Bournemouth centre-back Ilya Zabarny. Now, this is a rather simple method of doing a draft, and it's seen in American sports leagues such as the NFL. However, other leagues, such as the NBA, MLB, and NHL, have a draft lottery. What this means is that instead of the last place team getting the first pick, the last place team has pretty good odds of getting the first pick, and the picks are decided via a lottery. This is done in order to prevent teams from losing games on purpose just to get a good pick, which they still do, of course. So I took the same order as before and entered them into a draft lottery. And, unlike the actual NBA, I didn't rig it. With the draft lottery, the top 5 picks are usually really the only ones that people pay attention to, as this is where the best of the best prospects in the draft will be picked. When I did the lottery, only 5 teams switched places than if I would do an NFL-style draft, which is pretty standard. The first pick will be going to Fulham, who had an increase in 9 places in the draft order thanks to the lottery, and if there was a draft in place, the first pick would likely be Bukayo Saka again. Burnley kept their right to Cole Palmer as their retained second pick, and Spurs went up 1 place and secured their hands on Josko Gvardiol. Wolves went down 1 place, but were still securing Ryan Gravenberch, and Sunderland were perhaps treated the worst by the draft lottery, as they went down 4 places, and were getting Lenny Yoro instead of Bukayo Saka. I mean, nothing against Lenny Yoro, but I doubt Sunderland will feel as if they've done well there. Leeds also dropped down the order, and will be receiving Ethan Nwaneri at 6th pick rather than Josko Gvardiol at 3rd. Good to see that even in this hypothetical world, the English FA still found a way to screw over smaller clubs. The final change comes in the form of a 1-place increase from Man United, who, instead of Levi Colwill, they'll be getting Kobbie Manu. Now, you're probably thinking, United already have Kobbie Manu, as he's a graduate of the academy. No, if the PL were to be run the American way, United wouldn't have a youth academy. Instead, would have drafted Kobbie Manu after he led the University of Manchester to a natty. It truly is a different world. The NBA and Premier League are two of my favorite things in the world, and it was interesting to see what would happen if their worlds collided. And more interesting to see how they should definitely each stick to their own systems. I really hope Gianni Infantino doesn't see this video and get any ideas. Let me know if you prefer the NFL style draft or the lottery style. And of course, cheers for watching.